last drop of coffee. In our society, we are taught to avoid failure at almost any cost. I actually found through my experience that failures are one of the greatest tools for learning. In this episode, I fail. I didn't install drip irrigation. I haven't planted enough plants. I went too cheap on the amount of mulch I was willing to buy, and therefore I have a weed issue. We had this enormous storm, and I thought, well, I'll just collect all the stuff that fell out of the trees and use that as mulch. Now the gardens are a mess. So this section is not complete, and I still have a lot of work. But despite my failures, I still remain extremely enthusiastic about rewilding.
I've been working on rewilding my yard for almost a year. Even with failures, I have loved everything about this project. People who know me understand my enthusiasm and passion can get me into trouble, but the journey has and will continue to be fantastic.
I think it's time for some more rewilding.
So it's time for the next phase of rewilding of my yard, and so the first thing I'm going to do is mark where the sprinklers are so I know where to dig and hook in the drip irrigation. Sometimes things aren't easy. So the zones of the sprinkler system seem to interweave. I'm not sure why, so it's not going to be easy. There aren't logical blocks I can take out at a time. So the island, the bed you see behind me, that seems to be one zone and it surrounds it. I'm going to use that to do the next rewilding. The section that's right next to the current garden is a different zone that goes throughout the whole front yard. So I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do.
So I'm going to take out some of the non-natives. This is sago palm, which is very prickly. Not looking forward to taking that out. And then there's some pittosporum over there, which aren't doing real well. I'm going to rip those out and again replace them with natives.
As I was digging out the pittosporum, I realized I was going to have to dig underneath the rock retaining wall to install drip irrigation. I decided to save this for another day and focus on the grass section.
As I work on this, people drive by, and I know half of them are thinking, I'm crazy.
Maybe I am.
So you saw me taking out some green metal edging, and I'm going to start using that as kind of the border between rewilded and suburban yard. So now I got to determine how big is the next section I'm going to take on.
I couldn't understand why I had a leak when I hadn't dug in that area. It took me weeks to put the pieces together and understand when I established an area with pipevine and bronze fennel with metal edging, I had punctured a hole in the PVC pipe.
Okay, so the next section I'm going to rewild goes from that rock all the way back to the edge of the garden, and then it goes up to the corner of the house. So I've picked up another big section.
I didn't have access to leaves, which are only available in the fall, so my only choice to continue rewilding during the summer was to dig out the grass. I must have forgot my promise after the last section not to dig out more grass. I got these rocks from Nature's Way Resources and continue to purchase most of my native plants from them.
It's a little slow going, but I'm enjoying spending time in the dirt.
As I sit here and separate the grass from the dirt, it's actually helped me understand what the microclimate is here. Getting a lot more sun than I thought, which is good to know. And that'll help me decide what I'm going to plant in this new area. So just trying to finalize the path design in the next area I'm rewilding. And some of the stones are thicker, so I'm having to dig a hole to flatten or put them in so they're level with the other things. And did I mention, it is so hot out. Holy cow. Summer is here in Houston. Continue to have people stop by to talk about the latest work on the rewilding project. These conversations are some of my favorite times of the day, and they are a nice break. Just got done ripping out the grass from this section. A lot of tree roots, so I couldn't use a rototiller. Yes, it took me days. The fun part is planting. Went to get bushes and ended up with more flowers. I just can't help myself. You buy a boatload of plants, cost a fortune, and they just don't fill up much area. So I've been at it all day, trying to get these things planted. I can't find the bushes I want. I want 7 rock roses. I found one. I've ordered another 6, and I wanted red Turk's caps, but I'm missing another 4. I don't know if you can see her in the background. Here comes my executive producer to help me place the plants where I'm supposed to put them in. When the ground dries out, it is hard as a rock. While it would be tempting to dig a hole just big enough, I dig a hole at least twice as large as needed and much deeper. This is to ensure the plants have room for their roots to grow.
My enthusiasm for digging holes is waning.
This ground is like a clay pot. I wanted to see how long it would take the water to be absorbed into the ground. After 15 minutes, I gave up and continued working. After I planted all the rock rows, I asked the executive producer to come out to admire my work. I did have a concern the one plant on the left was a foot or 2 further away than optimum. Yes, I dug a new hole to move it to the right. I hope you noticed. Thank you for your continuing support of this channel, as there are currently 630 subscribers. Amazing. When I started rewilding, my goal was to remove every inch of grass from my yard. I am doubting my conclusion and would like your thoughts. Please leave a comment below whether you feel I should stop rewilding, should rewild the remaining portion of the yard closest to the house but leave the grass by the street, or rewild every inch of yard, eliminating all grass. I hope you've enjoyed this episode and will join me on the next adventure.